Hello and welcome to Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only LGBTQ+ daily evening news. It's time to queer up the news. It is 8 p.m. Thursday, March 31st, 2022, and we are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we are going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
Thank you for joining Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ+ evening news show. Whatever happens, you're gonna see it. Queer News Tonight is supported by viewers like you. We are part of the partnership between Happening Out Television Network and Hotspots Magazine. Hotspots is celebrating 36 years of the LGBTQ+ experience. We bring you the best of LGBTQ+ news, entertainment, and support of our community.
I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight. Not Al Ferguson, but John Hayden. Al is off tonight. He is doing a tasting menu at McDonald's with his best friend Laura Ingram. So now, let's welcome anchor Evyn Almazar. Evyn is a high school freshman that has been publicly speaking out for years. He's an advocate for mental health and queer student rights, as well as a lover of writing and nature, and often enjoys both at the same time. Evyn says, quote, "On Queer News Tonight, I want to make people hear us as a student body, as well as members of the LGBTQ+ community, and let them know how they can help," end quote. Evyn was also a member of the Don't Say Gay rally last month. Welcome, Evyn.
Surprise, I'm back. I'm so glad to be here again. So let's welcome anchor Dr. Tai Houser. He's an associate professor of English and Humanities at Broward College. Additionally, he teaches for extended periods of time at international colleges in China, India, Spain, and Bolivia. Good evening, Tai.
That's Dr. Houser to you, young person.
Sorry.
I'm kidding. Let's welcome anchor Tarek Turjuman. He is the host of Tonight with Tarek for Villain Theater, the only place for alternative comedy in Miami, and a member of the House of Yas, the Villain Theater's queer performance and art collective and Florida's only all LGBTQIA+ improv comedy show. He's a queer Guatemalan-born Palestinian comedian living in Miami. I'm not going to say that again. Good evening.
Thank you. Thank you for handling that introduction. Now let's welcome anchor Weinzimer, founder of the Smart Right. Did I screw it up?
No, you got it right. And then you
I was
forgot
so
my whole
nervous.
first name.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
I'm like white for the whole night.
I
I'm
was
gonna
so
be
focused.
It's good. It's good.
And I even host my own show. See, I suck. Let's welcome anchor Glen Weinzimer, founder of the Smart Ride, the second largest AIDS bicycle ride in the country, and the only one of the size to donate 100% of the funds raised to AIDS or service organizations. He also owns Bona Italian restaurant, where they celebrate Give Back Mondays, offering a portion of all sales to a different charity each week. Good evening, Glenn.
Good evening and nice job. We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight. And this evening, we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ+ community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast. And here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Thursday, March 31st. Today is also Transgender Day of Visibility.
There we go.
Let's begin this evening by queering up business. Fox News goes wild as leaked videos reveal Disney's true position on the gay agenda. Watch this.
It's like, I love Disney's content. I grew up watching, all of the classics. They have been a huge, informative part of my life. But at the same time, I worked at small studios most of my career, and I'd heard, you hear whispers. I'd heard things like, they won't let you show this at a Disney show. And I'm like, okay. So I was a little sus when I started. But then my experience was bafflingly the opposite of what I had heard on my little pocket of Proud Family Disney TVA. The showrunners were super welcoming. Meredith Roberts and our leadership over there has been so welcoming to my not at all secret gay agenda. And so I feel like I felt like it was, maybe it was that way in the past, but I guess something must have happened in the last, they're turning it around, they're going hard. And then all that like momentum that I felt, like that sense of I don't have to be afraid to like, let's have these two characters kiss. Let's in the background, like I was just wherever I could, just basically adding queerness to like if you see anything queer in the show, I'm proud of them. But like I just was like, no one would stop me and no one was trying to stop me.
That was great. I think they had Stanley Tucci doing the ASL as well, which is fantastic for him. He's still got work. The secret is out. Disney is saying gay, and they have been for a while. The footage we just played was leaked from a Disney corporate leadership conference, and in it, LaToya Ravenow, an executive producer at Disney Television Animation, made it clear that her inclusion of queer characters and storylines in Disney Animation was not only known of by corporate, but also embraced. Ravenow is the executive producer of the upcoming Disney Junior musical series, Rise Up, Sing Out, featuring the music of The Roots, which tackles the subject of coming together to fight racism and celebrate Black culture. She is also the director of the upcoming animated series, The Proud Family, Louder and Prouder. I'm just so happy that I have Disney Plus on this.
I'm so happy that Fox flipped out over it. The whole point here is that representation matters. I'm not sure if that's ever been said before, but the fact is that if you're to be visible in the world, at times it needs to be forced on you. I'm sure we would not have desegregated schools unless it was forced on us.
I want to know who wrote that report on Fox, because if you need to write a report on Disney, you have to watch Disney, and if you watch Disney, you're gay. Because everything about Disney is gay. If you think about it, it's so gay.
No, there's so many TV shows and little miniseries that you can just we know the vibe.
Yeah. Well, no, but just even like from Ursula to Jafar to the aesthetic of Snow White. It's all gay, honey. It's all queer. It's all queer. Yeah. I'm sorry. Disney has been part of, as a queer kid, we dreamed with Disney. And it just because it wasn't very explicitly queer doesn't mean it wasn't. I'm just saying it's gay.
Yeah. Well, what's also really interesting is this past week we've been talking about the state of Florida and DeSantis's new law that was passed, and how Disney didn't take a strong enough stance to represent the LGBTQ community, when in fact they've always had a gay agenda.
We've talked a lot on the show about how Disney didn't totally drop the ball before it passed and has really been using what we've called the off-ramp to get back on track. One thing I noticed when I was reading this article is they kept saying radical gender activists. And what do you all think that means? I think it's code for equality, which of course Republicans will have none of.
No, that's exactly what it has to be. I mean, they just don't, as soon as you insist on including a member of a minority group, they're going to call it some kind of radical stance. It's not radical. It's just people being people. But to Glen's point, I think is important to note, there is a difference between Disney's business side and their production side.
Absolutely.
And one is far more conservative than the other. And I think on the production side, we have seen a lot more gay-friendly content from them than, say, the business side, who is the one, who is the side that took the stance or refused to take the initial stance with.
Or didn't come out loud. Excuse me, didn't come out loud enough to meet the employees of Disney. It wasn't that their stance was necessarily negative or against it. They just didn't make a big deal of it until they were pushed.
Right. It's also, you have to also acknowledge how like the production part of things, there's so many queer people that work there because queer people were great artists, Yeah. So we have these people working there, and then so they're on one side, and then there's corporate on another. Is like, should we allow this or what? Yeah. And I'm glad that they finally took steps to just go.
But I think corporate's also doing their research, and a company whose goal is to cause an impression on young people, because that's where they make the money, teenagers and even younger, you want to capture them. Now you have to be queer friendly, and you have to give them representation, because if not, they're going to find it somewhere else, because now it's available. But I think that if they want to attract children, they need to be open-minded, because even heterosexual kids will appreciate that, because even there, everyone's questioning at that age, and they want to feel like they can. Yep. And I think that it's going to be good for business too.
Giving them the space.
And they've got to do a balance, because tourism is what they bring to the state.
That's true.
And not just LGBTQ communities visit Disney. It's it's Middle America. It's it's Mickey. It's Happy. So they also don't want to disenfranchise the mainstream, if you will,
Of course.
while still playing the role of being supportive of the LGBTQ plus community. And that is a careful balance, for anybody in any business situation.
Yeah.
So you don't want to alienate any one group while you may not agree with them. It's still business.
And if you got rid of all the gay employees at Disney, you'd just have Warner Brothers, and nobody wanted.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, let's carry on and queer up science. NASA accused of hiding evidence homophobic past under James Webb. NASA is being accused of dismissing concerns of LGBTQ plus discrimination in the naming of the James Webb Space Telescope. A petition was started in 2021 to rename the telescope after allegations surfaced that Webb was involved in the firing of many LGBTQ plus government employees during the Lavender Scare of the 1950s and 60s when he was acting as Secretary of State. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson said in a statement to ifuckinlovescience.com, quote, "We have found no evidence at this time that warrants changing of the name of the James Webb Space Telescope," end quote. Bullshit. It's there. The fact is that they won't share the documentation means that it's there.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's also 60 years ago, and there is a point where you say, would that person have kept their job? Or, I don't know, sometimes going so far back in history to point fingers in an environment where in order to survive you had to act a certain way. You watch Mad Men, the things and the way they treated secretaries. If you didn't do it, you would have not have grown in that, in any industry and succeeded because people expected that behavior. So it was accepted. And to go back 60 years and now, I don't know. I have really mixed feelings. I agree that there is a point where you say, okay, they did evil and so get rid of them, but you also lived in a world in a different environment in a different time where things were looked at differently. And so you can't then go back 60 years later and call them evil and call it illegal.
And he was a government employee. So I think, that was his job. It was like, oh, this is the Lavender, we got to go scare the gays. And, I'm not defending him. I don't know him. I don't know much about him, but it is, 50s and 60s, I'm sure even maybe a closet homosexual in the same position would have done the same thing.
Your point about, I agree with Glenn, and that is you cannot judge the past by our contemporary standards. You just can't, because it was a different time.
But why name it?
But at the same time, right, they're making this decision now.
Right.
So why do that? Why bring it up? I'm sure there are lots of people deserving of a name of a telescope being named after them.
So many.
I can see a Glen Weinzimer.
You're not going to see very far over there.
You're just going to see it
very
the
narrow
window behind
vision.
your house.
I don't think we should punish him too much, but I also don't think we should celebrate him with a telescope name.
But isn't this even more on point now that we just passed the Don't Say Gay legislation into law? Because at one point there was an amendment that was going to say teachers would have to out students to parents who may not know and may not be super accepting. So really it's almost like this is affirming Don't Say Gay.
But I don't think it was an issue that anyone even thought or knew about. We're making it an issue that didn't exist. Before this, I did not know that this telescope was named after was controversial. So it has been brought up as an issue that wasn't an issue. And now it's a thing.
Well, it was brought up by scientists, though, the people who are in.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is completely valid because it is something that they're still technically
yeah.
hiding.
It's the gay employees within the queer employees.
Right,
within the
exactly.
tribe.
But
so yeah, I respect that.
Again, it's with the times because something back like that back then to government officials was considered okay.
So you look at,
acceptable.
and it's a little bit off track, but you look at the movie Hidden Figures. Okay, so they were women of color, and so they were not allowed to be recognized, yet they did all these great things. So now do you go back and punish NASA in a big way now because they didn't let those people get known? Do you rename the building after them? I don't know where you draw the line, I guess what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But also there's Civil War monuments. I mean, that goes back another century even further. We don't have, we're getting rid of statues named after traitors.
Right.
All right, well, I say we just leave this telescope named as it is, and as payback, force it to only stare at Uranus.
Oh, boy.
Wow, Al, I never thought I'd say
That was a
this, Al,
lovely
but
one.
I miss you.
Oh, goodness. All right, now it's time to queer up trans rights. Even Fox News is celebrating Transgender Day of Visibility as they sign Caitlyn Jenner. Today is Transgender Day of Visibility, and some groups we wouldn't expect are participating. Fox News, not known as a beacon of acceptance, has hired Caitlyn Jenner as a contributor. She will appear this evening on Hannity and will continue appearances on the network. Fox News Media CEO Suzanne Scott said in a statement, quote, "Caitlyn's story is an inspiration to us all. She is a trailblazer in the LGBTQ plus community, and her illustrious career spans a variety of fields that will be a tremendous asset for our audience," end quote.
You know, I wish Fox News would not play gender politics and force that kind of thing in my face. You know, this is not good for our children. This is not good for our parents.
No,
What are they doing? What are they doing?
They're using her. They think she's ridiculous, not only because they're transphobic, but because, you know, she's kind of a reality show mess in a way, and that's perfect. We know how much they love the reality show stuff.
You know,
It's for publicity.
You know? But if you think of who else is on, you know, like Tucker Carlson, all these, they're entertainers. They're ridiculous people.
Well, here's the thing. She can't go, or if she does, that will be something I must watch. She can't go on Tucker Carlson. He is so virulently anti-trans.
Right.
His father, who was a very prominent anchor in Los Angeles back in the 60s and 70s, so anti-trans, still is, refuses to use correct pronouns, refuses to even acknowledge, because he was in a documentary last year, and which was amazing. But this is just something that I don't think that is literally a ratings ploy.
But you know what? Caitlyn is going to give it to them. She's going to go on Tucker Carlson, and he's going to, use the wrong pronouns, and she's going to be like, yeah, like give him the time and space. They're going to use her. No. They're going to use her to be like, oh, see, we're having discourse. We are gay friendly.
Right, and the thing is that they're not. We all know they're not. They're going to keep pretending that they are so they can get more publicity through it, and then they're going to kick her to the curb after they got everything they wanted.
First of all, it's ratings. You know, this is the Kardashian clan ratings. So she'll bring some ratings and notoriety and social media and memes, and they're going to use her.
And it's going to cause discourse, of course, because they're having a trans woman on a Republican show with a bunch of people that are anti-trans. There's going to be a point where she's going to have enough of all of this and just be like, I'm done.
Yeah. And then they're never going to hire another trans or queer person again.
God.
He's like, oh, we did it. You know, like, oh, we had a black president.
We had the moment.
We don't have to have anyone else.
Yeah. We had the moment.
But and also their viewership is not accepting.
No,
so, like,
it's not.
It makes
Not at
absolutely
all.
no sense for them to do this. There's no upside.
I mean, I know a lot of gays in Wilton who love Fox News, but
it's just because it's funny.
It is. No, but there is a conservative sector within the gays, but I'm not sure they watch Fox News. Do they watch Fox News?
I don't know any of them.
Yeah, and fortunately we don't. But to your point, they are going to discard her when she's done. I hope that she at least has the self-awareness to know that these people are not your friends. They will discard you when you're done, and in the meantime, they will laugh at you and they will mock at you behind your back. And that's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
You know, represent yourself, but you're not representing our community.
I've had experiences like that where I've been around people like that, and it's just like, you think they're there for you, but they're just using you. And then you turn around and you hear from the good people that are actually your friends that they've been talking about you, and it's like, why did I put myself in this position? You know?
She's not a serious news person either.
No.
She's a character. And I think that's part of the humor of this whole thing, is that she's
That's
not
who Fox 9 hires, really.
Oh, yeah, they do. But, yeah.
Anyway.
All right.
Now let's queer up Road to Stonewall. Miami Beach Pride sponsor Celebrity Cruises creates photo bank of diversity for travel brands. Celebrity Cruises, the presenting sponsors of Miami Beach Pride, has collaborated with the world-famous photographer Annie Leibovitz, queer black photographer Naima Green, and other photographers to create a diversity-driven, open-source photo library for the industry. The all-inclusive project aims to offer free images for all brands to offer inclusive representation.
And I think this is great. A lot of times you'll see blog posts and things, and they'll have images, and a lot of them are from smaller, poorer blogs, much like myself, and you look for, they're called stock photos. You've probably heard that. And stock photos are just that. They're things that nobody really wants to pay money for, and so they're just there for everyone to use. And that's sort of, I think, what this is going to be, except it's going to be more representative. It's not just going to be, you know, a generic mom and dad with 2 generic children, although children are generally generic.
It's amazing to me how far behind the United States is on representing other abilities and other types of people. It stuck out to me the first time that I traveled abroad, and I saw an advertisement in the UK with a woman in a wheelchair. And I was like, wow, we would never do that. And this was, you know, this was 20 years ago. And so we're now just coming around to this idea that, oh, we can show someone other than, you know, a cisgendered white guy kissing his wife.
We love to scream that we're so progressive, and then where are the people representing people with disabilities? Where's the proper representation of autism? And now we're finally getting pictures of people just trying to go on vacation.
And I have to say that the tourism industry has been more progressive in the last 15, 20 years in showing queer couples, what would you call it? Mixed marriages, all of that.
Yeah,
kind
but
of
all
stuff.
those queers have 6-packs and stuff. I want to know where the bears go and where the all-you-can-eat buffet is. Okay, I don't need a gym in the cruise. I don't.
Well,
you know,
the pictures that they're showing are not necessarily bears,
I'm
but
kidding. I'm kidding.
But you know, you look at most of the cruise lines and stuff, and they do that. And we did something on Hilton not long ago with 2 men with a baby were checking into a hotel room. So I think that industry has done some. I think this is great that it'll give it a more diverse and larger pool to choose from. But yeah, I don't want to take it away from them.
You know who's been leading the way on that? Fort Lauderdale. We are literally the gayest place on earth, and we have been. Our friends at Visit Lauderdale. By the way, that website has been migrating to the Visit Lauderdale theme for the last year. It's about to make the final step and conclusion, and it's going to look fantastic when it's done. I've been able to see some of it.
Will it be on newsstands on Thursday?
It will not be on newsstands. We're going to get to that in a bit.
Okay.
But Visit Lauderdale, and Richard Gray, our friend of the show and great friend of the community, has been in South Florida for 30 years. And he has worked first just to make gay and lesbian travel here. And then he's talked about how he's gone inclusive for the trans community, which has been a big push, for the disabled community, for trans women of color. He has just pushed and pushed and pushed and does such a great job. So please, even though you already live here, visit Lauderdale.com. It shows our community the way we need to be.
Okay. Let's queer up the worldview. U.S. starts ex-gender passport marker, April 11th. Now, travel can be a stressful experience for anyone, and especially for transgender individuals. Having an appearance that doesn't fit the gender on your travel documents can create issues with traveling across borders, and also create safety issues. The U.S. State Department has stated that starting April 11th, residents of the United States can choose an ex-gender marker on their passports. Queer News Tonight had reported when the first U.S. resident, intersex individual Dana Zim, won the right to have an X on their passport back in October. This is interesting because it can also work against, because if you put something on there and you're traveling to a country that does not recognize or accept the transgender community, the LGBT community, you're basically putting a what would you call a target right on your back of saying you can't go to that country. Now there is that part that says, well, then maybe you shouldn't be going to that country. But you know, there is a part of you're actually making maybe even less safe for someone traveling by calling them out. And I know it's a self-choice to be called out, but as this security thing that kind of concerns me a little
because
bit.
of transphobia and stuff, you could expose them.
So that's one side of it.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's a question.
What do you think?
Honestly, I don't know. I haven't traveled much since my transition. And
Yes, do you have a passport?
I do.
Okay.
It's very outdated though. I was about 6 maybe. So, you know, just
So regardless, it would look like you.
it might be. Yeah, my name isn't even the same anymore, so.
But do you want your
coming
passport
time.
to reflect?
I do want it to say male as it is, or as it should be.
Yeah.
And I think the idea of putting an X on a passport it's a good idea, but the execution might be a little more difficult, because if you're traveling out to countries that aren't accepting of that, where it's like, it's literally illegal to be queer, that might not be the best bet.
Yeah.
Even going as close as Nassau in the Bahamas, it's not welcoming.
You go to Haiti.
If you're
you can't go to
LGBT.
Haiti if you're queer.
Right.
Yeah.
But we do have countries opening up to this more and more. I mean, I forget, I know that we did a story on this, maybe it was last year even, but did the EU allow the X as well? There was either a European country or the EU that did it.
It's the right direction.
And I think Australia?
Maybe it was Australia.
Yeah.
Australia rules. Should states follow suit? I mean, it's nice that it's on international documents, but what about putting it on state driver's licenses?
Absolutely, yeah.
I think
Non-binary
that's
people
something
need
that
to
can
have an
definitely
option.
be implemented more,
Or even
especially
your tax forms.
I think it's a
State
form
level,
of discrimination to have to make them pick between male and, like, those are the only options, you know? There should be another option.
What about intersex people?
Right.
There should be a few options.
It gives them space now, which
How
is
about
what
just
they
human?
I don't know.
But that's what it is. It's all or nothing.
Republicans
Like
won't get
either you give an option to all the genders, or we don't even ask
Right.
people what their gender is.
Yeah.
Why do we really need to know that at the end of the day? Maybe for
marketing.
recognition purposes. But yeah, we do that. Yeah, we do that for
honestly-
marketing, for things like that. But at the end of the day, maybe we don't even need to.
Yeah,
know.
I've heard stories of trans people traveling, and it's how like it is a very stressful experience, especially if you're not post-op. And I saw this video of a trans woman, Rose Montoya, I want to say. Apologize if I said that incorrectly. But it's just like she was going through the metal detectors and they found something at her bottom. She didn't have bottom surgery yet. So they asked if they wanted to have her scanned as male, but then she did that and it went off in her chest.
Oh my God.
The whole thing is stressful. So like, I understand them trying to do whatever they possibly can to make things easier, and I very much appreciate it. It's just like, let's maybe focus on a little smaller steps before we jump on an international and worldwide scale.
But it is a good thing for the federal government to be leading the way on this.
Yeah, definitely. It sends out a great message.
And it is a choice. So you can still, when you travel,
Yeah, of
market
course.
as male because that's where you're comfortable, and represent that way. But yeah.
Right.
All right. Next, we report on our partnership with the Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. We are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine in supporting that partnership. Happening Out Television Network broadcasts the largest LGBTQ+ religious live broadcast in the world, as more than 30,000 watch every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Watch this.
My name is Jasmine Price Lords, Florida Mother of the House of Lords, and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
Happening Out Television Network is proud to be a media sponsor for the Miami Beach Pride. We are also excited about the opportunity to broadcast the parade live. Join us at Miami Beach Pride Parade on April 10th. We hope to see you there. Now, let's finish tonight's queer headlines with what we call LGBTQ+ flash news. And since I'm in the center chair, I'm going to flash you first. Kingsley gets kinky with campaign for new leather boots. When New York fashion brand Kingsley was created by Kingsley Bogdasin, launched a new boot line recently. They decided to pull inspiration for their ads from the leather, fetish, and kink communities. Press release about the new Made in Italy clandestine boot style, the company says, quote, "Welcome to Clandestine Club. Take your prep, lace up your boots. It's about to get sticky. Ever wonder what you'd see if you turned the light on in a dark room? Well, there's no need at Clandestine Club, unabashed and liberated in total freedom to show up as yourself, kink and all." And I love these boots, and at $890, I'm assuming that's for a pair. They're quite the bargain.
I think doesn't clandestine come from the town of clandestine? No?
Right next to Palestine.
Yeah.
Where's that? We exist? No.
Where's the happening out bill?
I love the boots. I love the boots. They are pricey though, but you know.
All right.
I like that they said to take PrEP. Like, yes, promoting safe sex. Also, yes, explore more fashion.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. LGBTQ plus flash news. Here are the top trans people who are loud, proud, and making change for Trans Day of Visibility. Today is Transgender Day of Visibility, and we are honored to celebrate the trans members of our community. In a presidential proclamation for today, President Biden said, quote, "To everyone celebrating Transgender Day of Visibility, I want you to know that your president sees you. The First Lady, the Vice President, the Second Gentleman, and my entire administration see you for who you are, made in an image of God and deserving of dignity, respect, and support," end quote. We at the Happening Out television network echo that sentiment, and we would like to recognize some of the top trans people changing the world here in our local community.
We start with one of our hosts here at the network. Misty Eyes works tirelessly at SunServe, assisting all women, be they trans or cisgender. She teaches sensitivity training for many companies and in the area, and has long been an advocate. Find out more and donate at sunserve.org.
Next, we understand that transgender women of color are the most marginalized and most likely to face violence. In our community, because of that, we want to honor Jasmine McKenzie, founder of the McKenzie Project. She works tirelessly bringing visibility to the community through events like the Breathing While Black and Trans Protest Walk and the World AIDS Day Ball. Find out more and donate at themcKenzieproject.org.
Another member of the Happening Out family is Nathan Bremer. He is one of the only openly trans men to serve on the state level in Florida as the LGBTQ plus consumer advocate for Department of Agriculture. He's also on the board of Equality Florida and is the president emeritus of St. Pete Pride.
Finally, we would like to honor our dear friend and fellow host, Raji Niran Singh. Her case of black market surgery gone wrong and her following appearances on television shows like Botched helped bring international attention to the struggles of body dysmorphia. Instead of letting her struggles bring her down, Raji has remained a beacon of joy and light in our community.
There are many more people we would love to honor today, but help us by sharing who you would like to celebrate with the hashtag Trans Day of Visibility and tag Queer News Tonight.
You're quite visible. And
I
you're 15
know.
and you have been for years.
No, he hasn't been 15 for years.
No, that I haven't, but I have it out. Ironically, 2 years ago, so tomorrow, that'll be 2 years that I came out. April Fools, haha. Not much of a joke, quite serious, but I love being able to celebrate this with all of my fellow trans siblings. It's just honestly, it's a really nice day to just feel connection with other people. It's like, even if it's unspoken, it's not something that you go around like, oh, happy St. Patrick's Day, but it's something that you both see and you both understand. And I want to thank all of my queer friends at school, and just honestly, my cousin Michael, they've all just, and people at SunServe as well, they've all just been such an amazing part of my life that I don't think I would have gotten to this point in my transition, now 8 months on T, without them.
Right.
You know, it's amazing to me, and it's wonderful that we have such a strong trans community right here in the gayest place on planet Earth. And those are just some of the people that we listed. But what's even more powerful is that we have trans kids coming up who are gonna take that power and that passion and harness it and bring it forward. And so I look forward to you doing great things as well.
I'll try not to let you guys down.
We'll be here if you do.
Exactly, and we'll point it out. I'm extremely proud that Queer News Tonight didn't just read the national list of people that have transitioned that are that fit the new role, or fit that they look like they're a man or they look like a woman, because the national article does just show people that are transitioned easily and recognizes them, but doesn't recognize those trans that have not and don't have the financial ability or the access to be able to do the full transition. And there's so many that still are hidden behind, that don't get recognized, and this day doesn't make it easier for them. So I love the fact that we represent a cross-section of all types of people in all their different levels of transition. And so I'm really proud of Queer News Tonight for picking the people that they did that represent a cross-section of our community.
Absolutely.
That's all.
That's all.
Okay.
I agree with all of you. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Nothing more to say, nothing more to add.
It's fine.
I'm just happy, you're 15. I remember myself at 15, little queer kid in Guatemala, fat, hairy queer kid in Guatemala. Life wasn't easy, and it would have been wonderful. I'm just so happy for you, and I'm so happy for the generations to come. I know in most of the world, being queer is still horrible, but right now in this place, I'm really just happy for you. What?
Did you have a beard at 15?
I did. Okay. I did.
Oh, I'm jealous.
He was dating her.
Yeah, I was dating. No, I had quite a few beers. Yeah. Hi, Patty.
Wilton Manors is also observing this right now tonight. This is on at 8 o'clock, and right now it's still going on. At Hamburger Mary's, there is an exposition of queer art and trans art and spoken word poetry. Lots of great things going on. There's an article that was previewing it in this week's SFGN, and I'm going to look at how Trans Inclusive Group has made such strides in its short, very, very short history. I think it's only 5 or 6 years old, in making the transgender community feel very welcome and much more apart. Because a lot of times the LGB and the Q don't support the T, and I think a night like this has been very important. Lil Nas X's baby registry when he launched his album Montero.
Oh my God, that was
brilliant.
That was amazing.
Yeah. And that's raised over $500,000 for charities, including Trans Inclusive Group here in South Florida. So we're gonna have a whole look at that next week. But today is a very special day. Yeah. I'm glad Hamburger Mary's is doing their thing.
I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it because no one should be subjected to spoken word. Wow. No, I'm kidding. I'm a bitter stand-up comic. I
can tell. I wouldn't want to go against you.
Pressing screens.
Thank you, girl. Thank you, girl.
Okay, let's keep this going and get out of that hole really quickly. LGBTQ plus flash news. You won't believe this file. RuPaul is selling autographed version of her Chia pet in drag. Everyone knows Miss Visage hates green, but apparently Mama Ru is a fan. That, or she's getting ready for Earth Day. Either way, the weirdest fad of the 70s is going super gay as the autographed RuPaul Chia pet hits shelves at Target soon. While you can get the regular peasant-level RuPaul Chia pet for $21.99, Glenn, that's
thank you.
Around your
I have a coupon, so it's even lower.
In your face.
Target's limited edition autographed ones are priced for the likes of Al Ferguson at $99.99. Watch this.
Hey, I'm signing limited edition autograph cards for my new RuPaul Chia pet available at Target. Yes, honey, you can see me in all my green glory. And I sprout in 2 weeks. How about that? Now you can go to halathon.com for more information. That's HAULATHON.com for more information. And you'll get one of these autograph cards. Signing, signing, signing. Chia pet, chia pet, chia pet.
You're old school, bro.
Okay, well, I had a Chia pet when I was a kid, and I kind of want one of these.
I wanted to be a Chia pet when I was a kid.
My turn. Chia pet. I think this is ridiculous, and I think for $99.99 you could do so much better in the world. RuPaul has enough money, and I just think that this is an abomination. Go.
I say get your money. I love queers making their money from the biggest reality show competition on television for the last few years. Get it, make it, because if you were a white heterosexual, you would doing the same.
My only fear about this is that she's going to get carpal tunnel from signing all of those things. But that said,
that one on her story, girl. She's got a big stand for that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And as far as that, leave it to RuPaul to upmarket the Chia pet.
Honestly. See, you said you were impressed that I know what those are, but I do. I wanted one when I was growing up because they just, I don't know, they seemed very exciting, and I kill everything that I, other than dogs and other humans. Anything that is alive, I will probably kill eventually, except for my Tamagotchi.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. LGBTQ plus flash news. Elton John celebrates 75th birthday with emotional letter to his sons. This is a great story. Elton John just turned 75, and he wrote an adorable and emotional letter to his sons, Zachary and Elijah, that was published in Time. In the letter he wrote, quote, "You're 11 and 9 years old now, and when I was your age, I could never have dreamed where life would take me. Looking back over the past 75 years, there is so much I am proud of, so much I have learned, as you are the two most precious parts of my life. I want to share some of these lessons with you. When I was young, I was told to fit in, to do what others expected, even when it didn't feel right. Now I realize I can only be me. Whoever you grow up to be, just be you, fully and completely you," end quote. Elton John just continues to impress me. At 75, the fact that he's got a 9-year-old, I mean, please, when they're in college, he'll be dead. I mean, do the math. No, I'm
Don't
kidding.
kill Elton.
I'm not trying to kill him.
No,
like,
bad Glenn.
You're
I know.
aging him.
75, 9, 19 is 85. Then they go on to grad school. He'll be 105. I mean,
I mean, are they still adopting? Because I'm available.
I know, today's my bit. I know, really.
The sooner you die, the better for my bank account. But, right? I'll be in the will, I hope, if I'm his son. But I think it's great that, like I said, the new generation, at least in the first world or most first world places, or what we consider the first world, anyways, too much there. But I think it's getting better. I think it's great. I think parenting is changing. And the more visible parents like Elton John will inspire not just, gay parents. This is inspiring for heterosexual parents. They want their children to be as comfortable as they would be if they were queer.
Look how much he's changed over these years as a performer.
Yeah. Elton has, his advice is so sage, and his kids are so lucky because he has been there. He had it all, lost it all, and then got it back all again, even in better form. And when I was a senior in high school, I went to a private Catholic prep school, and we had a senior retreat, which was 4 days, and it was an amazing time that I still cherish. And one point, your parents write a letter to you, and it's read in front of everyone. And my father wrote me the most heartfelt thing that anyone's ever said to me, and I treasure it. And I love you, Dad, and I'm sure that his kids are going to treasure this just as much too.
Yeah,
that's a lovely story. My dad would have probably be like, "Don't eat too much."
And you really should shave at the age of 5.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, I really think that's just beautiful, and the fact that he has kids, even at his age, like, I'm sorry, but fuck it,
Absolutely.
If you can have kids and you're gonna adopt these kids and you're gonna love them, just go for it, Even it doesn't matter how much time you still have, it just matters how much love you
I was
give
only
them.
kidding about the joke.
I know, don't
So
worry.
his letter was beautiful, and there was a part of it that he wrote that I loved that said something like, "I want to share my stories with you now, and then I have some other stories that I'll share with you when you're older." That's the letter I want to hear. I want to hear the older kids' stories.
All right. Well, Schoolboys get wild and say gay in trailer for new season of Elite. The trailer has dropped for season 5 of the Netflix soap opera Elite. The hot boys, the hot girls, the fuck are they saying? For those who don't speak Spanish, the show follows students at Las Encinas, an elite prep school in Spain. In a show that is one part Scream Queens and one part Euphoria, season 5 finds the teenagers recovering from the murder of a friend and letting loose on the brink of adulthood. Ooh. Does anyone watch Elite? Yes?
Yeah.
Yes? Are you excited?
I can honestly say I watch it just for the pictures because I can't read it. I don't understand it. And even the subtitles.
You don't have subtitles, Glenn?
They were in Spanish.
Too much.
I mean, these kids at this school, cancer, kidnapping, murder. Like I said, I went to private prep school. These guys have got nothing on what I went through.
Honestly, I'm glad I understand Spanish so I can watch it. Because now I'm interested. But all that going on, I love how they said it's like a mixture of Euphoria. with other TV shows, because that just makes it that much like more interesting to me. And I don't know, I really want to watch it. Also, my high school probably could pass as Euphoria High in some aspects.
Ooh,
Oh,
that's not a good thing. Unless you're talking about just how beautiful all the people are.
Well,
Absolutely that. But here, I'll tell you that I have been watching this show from the very beginning. It is one of my dirty little pleasures, and they have individual little stories for each of the main characters that they've also shot. So if you haven't seen that and you've watched all of season 4 and you're looking for a little get me through until season 5, go back and watch the ones that are the individual characters, because they're really good too.
Sounds interesting. Well,
no, nothing more to. I started watching. I stopped watching because I felt like, yeah, I got jealous of their high school experience.
it's quite exciting.
It's quite exciting, yeah. And yeah, South Florida has some crazy schools. We are the
Broward.
Euphoria High of America, I would say. Yeah.
Without Jacob Elordi.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Ready?
Yeah,
All right.
Bring us home.
Well, that is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show. Is our community important to you?
Then help us by liking and subscribing. Ring the bell for updates. Share this news with your friends and family.
Post this broadcast in the many groups you are a member of. Tonight's stories about our community deserve your attention, the attention of your friends and family.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support.
If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. And that is the passion of the Happening Out television network and Queer News Tonight. And it's worth noting that on this day in 1930, I'm going to get it right, the Motion Picture Production Code started, which suppressed the storytelling in film and eventually television for generations until the 1960s. That type of censorship is still trying to be resurrected in Tallahassee, in capitals across the world, and on the many sides of the Capitol in Washington. Don't let them do it. These stories that we tell tonight are important, and we couldn't have always told them. So let's appreciate that. I'm your anchor, John Hayden, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Evyn Almazar, Dr. Tai Houser, Tarek Turjuman, and Glen Weinzimer. We'll see you daily at 8 p.m. Good night, everyone.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out television network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ